Hello everyone and welcome to Living Finance. Please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification button. Living Finance is a platform that is dedicated to developments in the economy, finance, jobs, technology, cryptos, blockchain, artificial intelligence, healthcare, energy, electric vehicles, cars, and the automotive industry. The platform tries to analyze how development in these sectors impacts our everyday life and our personal finances. Today, we're going to be looking at the USPS decision to reject going full green, full clean energy powered vehicles. The USPS decided that they would go full electric by the year 2030. Presently, they intend to do 10% out of the potential 165,000 vehicles would be electric powered vehicles, while 90% of the other vehicles will be gasoline powered. So today we're just going to break down these analysis to see how it fits into the present day time when the Biden administration is a clean energy policy administration. We're going to review it. We also have to touch bases with China to see what China is doing in this sector and what the government policies are towards green energy and also climate change, internal combustion engine, and of course the electric vehicle industry. We will compare notes to see if China will win the race or if America will win the race. We're also going to look at the environmental impact assessment or cost to the environment in both jurisdictions. Bringing you up to speed, the United States Postal Service rejects to go full green on electric vehicles until 2030. Today we are going to be talking about the various arguments in support and against the United States Postal Service decision to delay total electrification of its entire fleet until the year 2030. We will look at the economic cost, opportunities lost, environmental impact, and the future of electric vehicle adoption by the US government compared to that of the Chinese government. The United States Postal Service says it has cleared final regulatory hurdle and is poised to place orders for the next generation mail vehicles. It was reported that some of the vehicles will be delivered next year and ready to ply the delivery routes in 2023. The contract is spread over 10 years between 50 to 165,000 vehicles, consisting of internal combustion engine cars and electric vehicle. It is important to note that 10% of this total number of cars will be electric vehicle, while 90% of it will be gasoline-powered vehicles. Although 10% of this total fleet of the vehicles projected by United States Postal Service will be electric. However, there are environmental concerns and opposition from the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA is of the opinion that the USPS decision to continue with majority of internal combustion engine cars defies logic in light of Biden's administration's desire to reposition the American economy and energy towards clean and green energy cars. To put it in perspective, the contract was awarded to Oshkosh Defense. The contract is estimated to cost between $6 to $8 billion. The Postmaster General Louis DeJoy says the United Postal Service is committed to at least 10% of the fleet being electric vehicles. However, he reiterated in his letter to the lawmakers that government assistance will be required to make the majority of the fleet electric within 10 years. He was of the view that the USPS requires about $8 billion to make the new fleet electric and to its maximum extent possible. You will recall that the Oversight Reform Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives voted to authorize a sum of $8 billion for the USPS. The first order, according to the decision published in the Federal Register, indicates that about 5,000 of the vehicles will be electric powered. Some environmental rights activists have strongly criticized the decision of the United Postal Service to play down clean energy vehicles and remain with environmentally unfriendly gas-powered vehicles. They are of the opinion that the overall climate benefits of going clean and green far outweigh any consideration by the USPS to remain with old system of vehicles that are gas-powered, gasoline-powered with pollution. According to the EPA, the decision of the Postal Service and the environmental impact analysis was fundamentally flawed. The analysis, according to the EPA, underestimates the cost of gasoline-fueled vehicles and overestimates the cost associated with electric vehicles. However, the Postmaster General is of the view that more electric vehicles can be purchased under the contract if more funding were made available. The irony is that under President Biden's Build Back Better, provisions were made for clean vehicles to replace internal combustion engine of most government-owned vehicles, estimated to be over 600,000 units. Imagine what this amount, if deployed, would do for the American economy. The plan, some will believe, will create new jobs, especially clean jobs, build new charging stations, and provide infrastructure to support electric vehicle adoption and reduce dependency on fossil fuel cars over time. The environmental rights group called the Syrian Club is of the opinion that the Biden administration push for 100% electric vehicles for the Postal Service should be commended. It is of the view that if USPS goes all electric, the environment will benefit in the reduction of noise, air, and climate pollution, with reduction in fuel costs as well. There are other oppositions to this assertion by some people who believe that the impact of gasoline cars to climate change is overestimated, and they consider it to be, not economically beneficial for the government to go all electric. What do you think? What's your view on this? Do you accept the policy of the United Postal Service to do 90% gasoline cars and 10% electric vehicles? Or do you think under the Build Back Better plan, if approved, the government should allocate more resources to going green? Buying electronic vehicles. I'm a fan of electronic clean vehicle. I don't know about you. If we take into consideration that under the President Biden's Build Back Better, a spending and climate bill which estimated $6 billion to help United Postal Service to create or buy new electric vehicles, and to also help them build infrastructures like charging stations and what have you to help the United Postal Service. But the USPS stated that if the funds were made available, they would purchase those cars and reposition about 70% of their fleet within the year 2028 to 2030 to be 70% electric. They're not even talking about 100%, but 70% in the year 2030. Master General said the decision to go with gasoline cars was based on financial sustainability of the Postal Service. He said that the law required him to be self-sufficient. But he also stated that he is committed and have the willingness to accelerate the pace of electrification if delivery of the vehicles, if they could find a financial solution that is financially not detrimental to the Postal Service. If the law requires him to be financially sustainable or self-sufficient, and the Biden administration is willing to provide additional funding to help them purchase this under the Build Back Better plan, that means more resources will be made available, to help the United States Postal Service, right, buy more electric vehicles. Should they reject it? Why would they oppose it? And why is the Build Back Better plan not passed? The bill is still standing, not passed. If this is going to help create new jobs, put more money into the economy to adapt, to help the United Postal Service buy more electric vehicle. The Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, said that the financial sustainability of the USPS should take precedence over electric vehicles. However, the Environmental Protection Agency is of the opinion that greenhouse emission from gas vehicles will emit nearly 20 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in 20 years, with a value to climate change exceeding $900 million. The Environmental Protection Agency considers this a loss of opportunities for USPS to reduce their carbon footprint. Also, some environmental rights activists are of the opinion that the financial sustainability plan talked about by the Postmaster General Louis DeJoy may be dismissed when you compare, what the costs were in 2020 to service a fleet of 141,057 vehicles under United Postal Service fleet. They said a whopping sum of $706.2 million was spent in maintenance of those cars. The question is, what was the cost of emission to the environment? Would it cost more or less to maintain electric vehicles? Do you think that the price, the so-called sustainability, financial sustainability, lack of detrimental impact to the financial or the bottom line of USPS should far outweigh the possibility, potential to go green, create new jobs, save the environment, and be more energy with more energy efficiency? Now let's turn our focus to China and take a look at the Chinese government stance on electric vehicle adoption. According to a Columbia University report, China leads the world in global adoption of electric vehicles. The report stated that at the end of June 2019, at least half of electric cars and 99% of the world's electric buses were in China. The electric cars in China in 2018 were estimated at 1.1 million, which was an increase of 80% from the reported sales figure of 2017. An estimated 92,000 electric buses were sold, while 4.2 of the vehicles sold in 2018 in China were electric vehicles. However, 2019 witnessed an increase of 50% in the first half of the year from the 2018 figures. About 632,000 units of cars were sold. As of June 2019, electric cars in Chinese market was estimated at 8.5% of the Chinese car market, which was the highest peak of electric car sales in China. Most observers attributed this to government subsidies. I don't know what you think about it, if you believe the subsidies help the growth or is helping the growth of adoption of electric vehicle cars in China. At the end of 2019, the electric vehicle cars in the Chinese market estimate was put at 1% of the total vehicles in China. You can see the gradual but steady growth of EV adoption in China. Whether fueled by government subsidies or individual preferences, there's a steady and sustained growth of EV cars in China. The president, Xi Jinping, stated that the interest of China is to increase research and development, to analyze the market, to adjust policies and develop new products to meet the needs of different customers. This was his contribution when he was visiting in Shanghai factory in 2014. China seems to be committed through policies to increase research and development in the EV sector. The US policymakers should encourage private sector enterprises with incentives to narrow or surpass the competition that China eventually brings to the market and potentially become the clean energy capital of the world. In order to gradually reduce dependence on fossil fuel, the Chinese government has put policies in place to encourage the adoption of electric vehicles by individuals, corporations, and electric vehicle manufacturing companies. The government issues or gives quotas, subsidies, exemption from taxes to the manufacturing companies. The government is even encouraging the building of charging stations, in different locations in China. They are also giving preferential free parking spaces for electric vehicles. And they're making subsidy payment to manufacturing companies or people that import, parts to make electric vehicles or charging stations in China. Why the USPS is still deliberating whether or when to go full electric, some municipalities in China have indicated their commitment to go full green by changing their entire taxi fleet to 100% electric within a few years. Some of these, just two municipalities to mention are Beijing and Shenzhen. Some local government authorities are already building hydrogen fueling station. And of course, in 2019, can you believe this coming from China? Hainan provincial government said that they would end fossil fuel cars by the year 2030. An MIT report quoting the EAA, International Energy Agency, estimates that electric vehicles in China led to a reduction of 30 metric tons of carbon dioxide emission in 2018. The question is, what is America missing? China is leading the way. What is America going to do? Should government incentives increase? I know there are some incentives put in place by the US government to help, individuals own electric vehicles. Sorry, I just keep saying electric vehicles. But the question is, are these incentives and subsidies enough. I also understand that China has a command and control economy, but we cannot disagree with their intent to have a clean and energy efficient economy by 2030. It is going to be gradual, but they are ramping up research and development in this sector. They may become the world leaders if the US government and the US administration does not encourage individual private enterprises to do more research and development in this sector and encourage through other incentives the adoption of electric vehicles. They can start by reduction of fleets, by increasing quota system, like I've mentioned before, earlier on, to big haulage companies, a gradual and incremental approach to reduce the number of fossil fuel trucks. Let me know what you think.
So let's look at it from three perspectives. What are the economic costs? What are the opportunities lost? What are the environmental impacts? And lastly, or say fourthly, the future of electric vehicle adoption. I am a fan of electric vehicle. I love Tesla. I love Lucid Motors. To be honest, I'm leaning towards Lucid because I like the designs. I like the futuristic, designs of Lucid Motors. And I also love Tesla because they are the pioneer companies. We must give Tesla the credit for what they've been able to achieve when people wrote them off. When nobody thought it was possible to be sustainable, to develop electric cars and be sustainable. Tesla did it. And every other company is spinning off the research and the R&D of Tesla, the failures of Tesla, the success of Tesla. And now we have the Lucid Motors, we have the Workhorse, we have the Nikola in the heavy-duty truck manufacturing industry. But again, I believe that America, as a leader of the free nation, should really consider adopting electric vehicle. That does not mean we should forgo gasoline cars, no. But I believe that both can work. If there can be a government policy to make it 50-50 in the next 10 years, that would help. China is working immensely to go green. They are building the infrastructure, the recharge stations, the batteries. Their R&D is going up. Just like in every other technology, China is trying to, take the lead. And if of course, that Li Autos, Neo Motors, Xpeng, these are all Chinese spin-off. And of course, with a lot of government subventions and subsidies given to these companies, they have the leeway to conduct more research and development, more R&D. They make mistakes, they can write it off in taxes because the future gain outweighs the present loss, right? Now, it will take government policy to move electric car adoption in the US. The private sector and the competition between the gasoline cars and EVs, if they are left to compete without progressive government policy. When I mean progressive in this context, I'm also looking at it in the context of environment, in the context of finance, in the context of the future. It has to take a bipartisan agreement to come up with a policy that will make it, that will put in place, for example, if it's privately owned or publicly owned, and let's assume you can stay in the next 5 to 10 years or the next 10 to 10 years, the next 5 to 10 years for corporations that own more than 100 or 200 vehicles, or let's say, the big delivery companies and what have you, that they have a 5-year plan to reduce or a 10-year plan to reduce their emission by going green, by making 50% of their fleet go green. In order to give them incentive to do so, the government can create subsidies for them, tax rebates for them. I believe there are economic opportunities to create green jobs. Also, it will be an opportunity lost because China is advancing in this industry, and China may far outcompete the US if the US does not put a policy in place. China is already thinking of going full green in 2030. or majority of the vehicles that will apply their road to be more green than combustion. Now, that does not mean that we have to go full green 100% in the next 5 years. No, but I believe that it will create more jobs. It will add more jobs to the economy. It will reduce dependency on fossil fuel. And you can see what is happening in Russia now with the dependence of oil or fossil fuel coming from Russia to the European Union. They are caught between the deep blue sea and the devil. They don't know what to do. They're coming up with policies and also taking into consideration the price of gas and how it will affect the personal finances of their population. The environmental impact itself cannot be overstated. What are the cost implications? If there were to be an analysis conducted by an independent, impartial body to take into consideration for less heavy-duty trucks and government-owned vehicles, the impact, the pollution in the US, how many metric tons these are, and again, what it costs in terms of monetary value on the environment. Maybe this will help. Well, I'm just thinking aloud, and I would love your opinion on this. I think it would, going green would create new jobs, new opportunities, but I'm not saying wipe out the fossil fuel cars as well. I'm saying both can exist together, right? But we can reduce dependency on fossil fuel and we can go green, right? Especially the hauling companies. Let me know what you think, on this channel, okay? Let's know what you think. We would like to read your comment, your feedback. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, tell friends about us, and also hit the notification button. Lastly, the information we give out here is just news analysis, okay? And the opinions expressed in this broadcast and all of the contents belonging to this platform are not and should not be interpreted or misconstrued to be an investment or financial advice. You should not rely on this channel or the information you receive on this channel to make investment decisions. You must and should consult a financial advisor before making any financial decision. Welcome to Living Finance. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and you will get more news like this from us. Thank you.
Thank you for taking out the time to listen to our broadcast today. And do not forget that we bring you good topics every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when we upload new videos and new content. We'll try to make an in-depth research on every topic to break it down to you from wholesale issues into retail pieces information, so you can dissect it on your way and understand it without really having to break your head. Please subscribe to Living Finance channel. We love you all and hope to hear from, hope to see the interactions on the comment button below. Thank you. Disclaimer: the opinion expressed in this broadcast and all of the contents belonging to this channel and platform are not and should not be interpreted or construed as investment or financial advice. You should not rely on them to make any financial decision. You must consult a financial advisor before making any financial decision.